So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 3 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to dive into today includes the Spider-Man 2 blowout. Great stuff there. We got some great stuff from that event. We're going to talk about it. Beyond that, I also wanted to talk about PS3 and PS Vita backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5. Some interesting information on that. And also, there's a new update now out for the PlayStation 5. First, yes or no, have you seen the new Spider-Man 2 trailer or not? I've watched this trailer several times at this point, and I've loved it each time. They've done a great job with it. So comment below yes or no if you've seen the new Spider-Man 2 trailer or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, the Spider-Man 2 blowout. So yesterday was a pretty big day for Spider-Man 2, bigger than I thought it would be. I was hoping for just a story trailer at least, but we got more than that. So we'll go over this information in 3 sections: story details, trailers, and hardware information. So story details. So yesterday, a good chunk of information on what's going on in Spider-Man 2 was revealed. The story is set to 9 to 10 months after Spider-Man Miles Morales in 2020, and is described as a simple human story, and everyone has darkness in them. The symbiote shows the dark side of power and responsibility, and Peter thinks he can do everything himself, so he's got the weight on his back. Peter and Miles are struggling with their own personal lives, with Miles trying to get into college and Peter being behind on payments for Aunt May's house. But you can see in the trailer that Peter seems to have gotten a new job as well. Miles and Mr. Negative, who killed his father, as we know, they're going to meet each other. So that's going to be an interesting section in the game. Harry Osborn is a bigger role here, obviously, before he was just put into sleep, but he's a bigger role here, with the trailer kind of hinting that he's Venom, which we kind of guessed already. J. Jonah Jameson is at the Bugle. He's back, and Mary Jane works for him. Craven is the catalyst of the story, with the symbiote being the big threat to everyone and everything Miles and Peter care about. And also, this time around, Miles and Peter are well-oiled machines, is what we're getting. Well-oiled machines, which you kind of saw in the trailer in 2021, how they both were fighting enemies together very well. You kind of got that hint back then. So that's the story, which sounds like a roller coaster of amazing and emotional. I can't wait for it. The tears and the happiness, all of that together. Moving on from that, we have the Spider-Man 2 trailer, which again shows a lot. I've mentioned it a bit in the previous section here. We got our first look at the new models for Peter, Harry, Mary Jane, who looks much better than the first game, Miles, and Mr. Negative. A lot of changes for each of these characters. The visuals for the city also looked amazing in the trailer, and we got to see more of that. We also got our first proper look at Venom, and he looks exactly like what we saw in that image that Insomniac put out the day before. For people doubting that image was actually an image from the game and not artwork. It was actually a screenshot of the game, guys. This is pretty much confirmed now. We have the trailer. I've replayed that part with Venom many times at this point, and it still looks amazing. There also seems to be an unknown enemy in the trailer in one scene, which I guess we'll find out when the game drops this October. Doesn't seem like we're going to get more information before then on who this person is. There are other things you can pick out from the trailer, and I'll have that linked if you haven't watched it. Basically saying, fix that if you have not seen this trailer yet. And finally, the hardware. So this one was interesting. Sony will be releasing a custom controller and custom PS5 plates, both dropping this September 1st, not October 20th, this September 1st, and you can pre-order both of them on July 28th. One thing that's interesting here is that this drops a whole month and 3 weeks before the game actually drops. This looks like Sony is they're kind of clearing out stock for some reason. I wonder what it is. Obviously, we're talking about the PlayStation 5 Slim here. Sony is clearly trying to lock pre-orders on this thing quick before the Slim comes out or they announce it. I was wondering why Sony didn't do something like this for God of War Ragnarok, one of their biggest games. And I guess back then they were still dealing with stock issues and they didn't have, new hardware coming in the near future. So Obviously, this is just a theory, but it kind of makes sense based off the reports that we've been getting. Locked pre-orders on July, maybe announce the PlayStation 5 Slim in late August or after September 1st when everyone's gotten their console. And now you can get people ready for the new PlayStation 5 Slim or whatever they want to call it, set to come out later in September. We'll see how this goes, of course.
I got you. Time to go boom, boys!
And now diving into the second story of the video, a new PS5 update is now live. So this story is pretty simple, and it could be Sony getting ready for the next major PlayStation 5 update, which we'll probably talk more about early next week. But PS5 update 23.01-07.60.00 is now live, and it improves system performance. I was hoping the community would be able to find some other interesting changes like they usually do with previous minor updates, but I haven't seen anything mentioned on in regards to this update outside of what's already mentioned on the patch notes. So nothing really interesting here from what I've seen so far, but you guys let me know if you've updated your PlayStation 5 yet or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And now diving into the final story of the video, PS3 and PS Vita backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5. So PS3 backwards compatibility has been a discussion for a long time now with rumors here and there. The best ones we've seen in recent memory come from Moore's Law is Dead a while back, who said that Sony is working on a PlayStation 3 emulator and they do have games running, but it's not running well. We also had Jeff Grubb last year say that Sony is working on a PS3 emulator, but that it'll take some time. He wished that Sony would just come out and tell people that that's the case, that they are working on a PS3 emulator, but they just need more time for it. I would love if they did that as well, but we know Sony, they keep everything close to their chest in recent memory. Now, focusing on the part from Moore's Law is Dead, where he said that the PS3 emulator is working for some games, but it's also not working well. Jeff Grubb kind of said the same thing by saying it'll take time. Recently, Rithian on Twitter, who got the Sony Bungie buyout correct, put out information on what the performance of the PS3 emulator is, and it doesn't sound good, but at least it seems like Sony is trying. So he tweeted this out recently. Sony is iffy when it comes to backwards compatibility. They have their PS1 and PSP emulators going. Their PS2 emulator is out of date and they're not using it anymore. PS Vita emulator is in the works, limited to PS games. PS3 emulator is in the works too. Bad performance so far. Have not heard about an updated PS2 emulator. Sony made that in 2012 to 2014. While it does support higher FPS and resolutions, it doesn't hold a candle to the PS1 and PSP offerings. As for the PlayStation 3, Sony planned to reach out to the RPCS3 and Xbox backwards compatibility teams, but never did. Poor results occurred. I only know of 3 games they've tested for PlayStation 3: Call of Duty Black Ops 2, 540p 20 FPS max, Red Dead Redemption, 540p 12 FPS max, and MGS4, 480p 8 FPS max. So this all kind of aligns with what we know so far. Sony has not put out a new PS2 game on PlayStation Plus since its new launch, and it's because of their PS3 emulator being outdated, it seems. We know that there was something wrong with their PS2 emulator, and that's why we haven't gotten games. The PS Vita emulator is an interesting one. Why work on that but not update your PlayStation 2 emulator? I'm wondering there. As for the PlayStation 3, this aligns again with what Moore's Law is Dead said, and I hope this information is really old. Seeing those performance stats is obviously not great. Black Ops 2, 540p 20 FPS, that's crazy. We don't need that. It's at least nice to know they have some things working. I just hope this is really old information, and at this point it runs much better than that. Sony just needs to put a dedicated team on this, and they need to just start pumping those games out on PlayStation Plus. But you guys let me know if you want PS3 emulation or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is the body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with Bring On the Classics. Obviously, this is a reference to backwards compatibility, PS1, 2, 3, Vita, whatever it may be. Bring on those classics. If you're excited for a PS3 emulation, destroy the comments section with bring on the classics, and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.